name is Sunday, Senior Technician at Axon Electronics Technology Limited. For those of you that are still confused about the types of battery to use for your solar installation or solar system, today I would like to talk about characteristics of the types of battery we have, their differences, and their class of batteries. We have wet cell, we have dry cell, and then we have the lithium battery. Now, before I proceed, I would encourage you to follow us on all our social media handles on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Like, share, and comment. Thank you. So I'll be doing my classification based on some list of characteristics and differences that I've highlighted out here. So the first one on my list is the price. In terms of price, lithium is more expensive, wet cell is affordable, dry cell is affordable. Number 2 on my list here is the weight. In terms of weight, lithium is heavy, wet cell is heavier, and then a dry cell is the heaviest. In terms of DOD, which we mean by depth of discharge, lithium has a depth of discharge of 90 to 80%. Wet cell has a depth of discharge of 80 to 60%. Same as dry cell, 80 to 60%, depending on products. And the next on my list here is repairability. Ability to be able to be being repaired if it probably is being faulty. Lithium is 100% repairable. What do you mean by being repairable here? Probably maybe after the lifespan is done, has elapsed, and then we can open up this battery, read up the cells, and try to fish out which cells is bad, and then whichever cells is bad can be replaceable. It's replaceable, so we can replace that, and then the battery still continues working. So it's 100% repairable. If it is the BMS that is bad also, it can also be replaceable. So this is 100% repairable. Wet cell is 50% repairable. Now the reason why I said it's 50% repairable, is 50-50, is because some wet cells after they depreciate, you can still change the electrolyte in the system. You can wash the system, change the electrolyte in the system, and then put a fresh electrolyte and comes back to life. So it's 50-50, and some might not, depending on how suffocated the electrodes in these batteries are. So, but for dry cells battery, it is not repairable. Once it is done, or once the usage elapses, once the lifespan elapses, that's all. You have to replace it with another new one. Now, the next on my list here is the maintenance. Lithium doesn't require maintenance. For you to use lithium, it doesn't require maintenance. But wet cell, they require maintenance, and then dry cell also doesn't require maintenance. So what maintenance does wet cell requires? That is topping up the water content in it. You know, as you use this battery, as it charges, discharges, the water content in the composite of the electrolyte in it, the water content drops. So as the water content drops, you will see that in the gauge that comes through the system, that it drops. So once it drops, you have to pump it up back with a distilled water. So that's why wet cell requires maintenance. The next on my list here is the charging speed. Now, lithium has the fastest when it comes to charging it back. So wet cell is moderate, and then dry cell is, let me say, the least. So the next on my list is long-term durability. So when we're talking about long-term durability, we're talking about sulfation, what we know as sulfation. So that sulfation is the electrodes in the battery system wearing out, trying to corrode, wearing out. So when it comes to lithium battery, it is better because there's no sulfation. In lithium battery. But when it comes to wet cell, from the word wet, something that the electrode is already inside wet compound. It's inside a wet compound, so it stays inside the wet compound. So this can be exposed to sulfation. So it's being exposed to sulfation. So when it comes to long-term durability, it's not better compared to lithium. So, and then dry cell on the last part is also not better. It's also sulfate. So the cells also sulfate, but because of the kind of way lithium is being designed and the component is being used to design lithium, the technology is far different from wet cell and dry cell. So it makes it not to sulfate. So last on my list is the lifespan. So lithium has a lifespan of most 6,000 cycles. So it comes with most of them comes with 6,000 cycles, which means it can still last up to like 15 years. It can last up to like 15 years. So while wet cell has a life cycle, most of them comes with a life cycle of from 1,200 to 2,000. So this gives us a lifespan of like 30 to 5 years, depending on how the usage is. So the same thing also applies to dry cell. Most of them also comes with 1,200 to 2,000 cycles. So which also gives us a usage also of like 30 to 6 years. So I hope that with these characteristics and differences I've highlighted for these three types of battery, lithium, wet and dry cell, that you'll be able to choose based on your budget